My name is Timothy Tan, and I'm the head of SMA. I just like to take a warm welcome for you, from us to you, for taking the time, about an hour or so. This session is going to be an hour or so for this installation of Behind the Scenes. In this installation of Behind the Scenes, it's called Make Your Voice an Asset. Okay, right. I'm going to start today's session with a poll. How many of you actually use virtual platforms for communications or work right now? Hands up. Okay, I think a lot of people, there are 68, more than half. Okay, all right, thank you. Amidst these challenging times, I think many of us are actually resorting to the phone, resorting to virtual platforms, more mobile, to do our business, to communicate, to meet and to meet and to discuss business. And I thought it would be good for us to share from an expert, how do you make your voice an asset, especially right now when we use mobile communication quite a little bit. Right, but before we do that, I'm going to share my screen and talk about today's session. Okay, all right. So today's Behind the Scenes, we're going to talk about Make Your Voice an Asset. Okay, and Behind the Scenes is a virtual micro-learning series that's launched by Singapore Media Academy. It is about demystifying the media profession. We'd like to introduce media professionals to you, and we'd like to, through this platform, we'd like to create more understanding of what the different roles are in the media industry. What are some of the careers in the media industries? We also like to share some insights into the media industry. What are the trends? What are the current trends in the media industry? And media is always evolving. Right now, digital is really very big. And yeah, you know, some media insights and media trends. We also like to share about training, learning, and education through this virtual micro learning series. All right, okay. I'm just gonna, yeah, all right. Today's program, I am the moderator. My name is Timothy Tan, and I've briefly introduced what Behind the Scenes is about. Okay, we had three previous installations of Behind the Scenes. The first one of them was about producing and what the art of producing is about. We had two producers share the experience as in the media industry. The second one was on acting, on whether acting benefits someone in real life other than on screen. Now, the third one that we actually had was on writing, and whether writing is a recession-proof profession, and what the life of a writer is like, and how it is to be a writer. Is it a really solo kind of a profession? So today, we're going to talk about voice, and how do you make your voice an asset of yours, okay? With us today is Margaret Mary Lin. You might know her as Maggie. Many of you might find her sound, her voice, her sound. I'm sorry, Maggie, but
yes, my sound.
Yes, her sound. All right, her sound very familiar. Okay, she is currently she's currently heading up one of Singapore's biggest English stations. She was a DJ. She started as a DJ. She's also a host. You might find some TV commercials or radio ads or some podcasts very familiar because she's the voice behind the sound. Okay, so she is witty, she's funny, she is charismatic in her voice. So therefore, we had invited her to share how you can make your voice an asset. All right. So over to you, Maggie. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Timothy. Okay, and in the words, of course, of Adele, it is hello from the other side. Maybe it's better if I turn on the screen right now. Hi, guys. Hello, everybody. This is very surreal, actually, the way that we're doing things right now. I still am trying to get used to having meetings with no faces in front of me. So sometimes if I look a little bit lost, please forgive me, because I'm trying to toggle between screens and seeing everybody. So just quick hands up. Give me a thumbs up if it's possible at all. All are doing okay? Fabulous, fabulous. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so let me just start, first of all, by congratulating you for actually being part of this wonderful webinar called Harnessing the Power of Your Voice, the Art of Persuasive Conversation. Just like Tim said, I've actually been or I was on radio actually for well over 20 years. And I only made the switch over to looking after the whole of Class 95, where I look after the DJs, I look after what they do on a daily basis, we content create and everything. That was about 5 years. But for close to 20 years, I was getting up in the morning and I was doing morning show radio. I worked with people like Hamish Brown, who is very happily retired right now in Koh Samui. In fact, today is his birthday, so I gave him a call. He was wonderfully showing me around his little house in Koh Samui. I've also worked with other really, really great names, people like Hubert Tang. I've worked with Tim O, who's gone over to another radio station. I've had many, many partners. And in my job, actually, as a radio personality or a radio DJ, we are in the business of always trying to persuade people to listen to our stations. We're always in the business of trying to persuade them to buy into an idea, either to agree or disagree with a story that we're talking about on air. So every day for 20 years, that was what I was doing. I was doing the art of conversation, of talking to people. And I know that a lot of times, question that comes up is, well, how do you use your voice persuasively? How do you find the right words? How do I get somebody to buy my idea? It's a great idea, but how do I get them to agree to it? Well, hopefully after the end of this 30 minutes with me, you get a clear indication, okay? So let's start with this. What is persuasion? Persuasion is actually the act of getting someone to believe or to do something. And how do you persuade somebody to do that? You persuade them with words. You persuade them with your drive. You persuade them with your enthusiasm. You persuade them with your ideas. You persuade them with the knowledge that if they said yes, yay, or nay to an idea, that it would either improve their life by leaps and bounds, or it could totally ruin their life altogether. So no, it's not a good idea to do that. Now, one of the things that we used to do all the time as radio DJs, we do live commercials. And in a live commercial, it's basically persuading people to either engage in a service that we were talking about, or to persuade them that it was a good idea to buy something because it would improve their lives. Now, I don't know whether you would have remembered this, but for quite some time, we used to be running a commercial on air, live commercial, where we spoke about weight loss treatments. And for some strange reason, I found that on my show, I was the one, at least my show, was the one that was always selling the service. Once or twice, it was like, oh, okay. But then it became a third time that I was being told, okay, Maggie, they want you to do this again. I'm like, oh, okay. And then the fourth time, Maggie, all right, you've got this, campaign on your show. I'm like, okay. And after a while, I honestly started to wonder to myself, is it because somebody saw a picture of me and thought that, yeah, she would make an excellent candidate to talk about weight loss because, well, her butt was enough to fill like 2 aeroplane seats. I was like, can't be right. And then I got feedback that it was because of the stories that I told when I was talking about weight loss, which were very real. So a quick takeaway is when you are trying to have a conversation, a persuasive conversation, you need to be able to tell or be real so that people will believe you. Now, if there's only one thing that you take away, it's got to be that. Your voice has got to emote that there is a certain level of truth and that you're speaking from the heart. So when I was talking about, for the longest time, I would be the voice of this particular weight loss campaign. And it was always about me recalling incidences where, it's so difficult to pull up my jeans. There are some days it feels great. I don't need to lie on my bed and pull my jeans up. There are some days I can just slip it on. And then there are some days, come on, ladies, we all have those days where we can't really pull our jeans up for whatever reason, water retention, stress eating. When I started to tell those stories, and in that voice that I used, which was sometimes filled with desperation because really, I just bought this pair of jeans and I want to wear them. Why is it so hard to wear these jeans? Or when I get frustrated because, hey, I was able to wear that dress last week. Why is it so difficult to wear the dress this week? Go to so-and-so, to help you with all your weight loss problems. It was the art of realism, the art of talking from the heart, and how I communicated either how desperate I was to put on my jeans or how frustrated I was in order to put on that dress. So persuasion is the act of getting someone to believe or do something. How do you do that? It's down to how you say it by way of your voice, your tone, your pitch, your pacing, and the words that you use. Now, I bet you never thought about it, right? You're like, wait a minute. Pace, pitch, volume. I thought I just say words, right? Yeah, words are words. But words mean nothing if you don't throw any emotions behind it with your voice. So you know how sometimes, right, in the morning when you walk through the door of your office when it was pre-COVID and you were in the office, right? You walk in and there would be just some people, and they'll have this wonderful, beautiful sunshine in their voice. How people often describe it, right? Sunshine in their voice where they go, good morning, how are you? And you're like, oh, good morning to you too. Yeah, I feel great. And then there are some when you walk through the door, they go, good morning. And you're like, yeah, good morning to you too. Doesn't sound like you're having a very good morning. Now, imagine if they were to follow up that good morning. You think we can have a meeting in 5 minutes? What would be your instant reaction? It'd probably be, no, actually, I need to have my coffee first before we meet. Versus, good morning. You think we can have a meeting now? Sure, not a problem. Let me put my stuff down. I'll come and see you. How you say it, your voice, your pitch, your tone, your volume, how loud, how soft. I have a joke that runs around because I have a really, really loud voice. And I'm actually controlling my voice right now as I'm talking because I've got a mic and it's a very powerful mic. But if I don't have this mic in front of me, I would be talking really loudly. I mean, pre-COVID, people down the corridor could hear me before they could even see me. And the joke always was, I swallowed an amplifier when I was young. So I really have no volume control. I only have an on and an off. There's no volume control. I'm really, really loud. So how loud or soft you say your words, how you emote, the words that you use, and a little bit later on, it's also about the words that you don't use, something that we refer to as nonverbal communication. So let's get straight to it. How you say it. I love food, so all my references are always about food. Verbal communication, talking. What we're doing right now, what you do on a daily basis. You get on the phone and you talk to people on the phone, right? You talk to members of your family. You have Zoom meetings, WebEx, or Microsoft Teams, whichever platform you're on, and you have meetings. You're talking every day. Talking is like vanilla ice cream. It's plain. It's words. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Here's an idea, guys. This is what I think we should be doing. This is what we should be working towards. You talk to members of the family. Yeah, I think we should, consider maybe let's go to this place for dinner. No, let's go to this place for dinner. Why is it some people can win arguments and others can't? You ever stop to ask yourself, why is it in the office that person, my colleague, can seem to get people to agree so readily to what he or she is saying? My idea is great. Why can't I get people to agree to it? Question 1. Are you simply talking, just letting the words tumble out? Vanilla ice cream with toppings is the difference between somebody who simply uses words, strings words together into a sentence, in between that and a person who actually tries to make an effort to hold the attention. And how do they do that? By the pitch. A pitch is your natural voice. So this is actually my natural voice. I'm one of those few women who have low voices. You should hear me when I have a sore throat. Oh my gosh, I sound like a man. People used to think that I was a man before they saw me and they're like, hey, wait a minute, you have a very low voice for a female. I'm like, yes. In other countries, this voice could be used for other users, but no, not here. So this is my natural pitch. It is a low voice. More often than not, women have very high pitches. And you know how sometimes when somebody talks with a very, very high pitch, it's kind of like nails on a chalkboard, right? Okay. I'm imagining you're going, yo, well, please stop. Yeah. Why is it that you get irritated when some people open their mouths and they talk? It's not because they're a bad character. It's not because you don't like them. It could be because of the pitch, because of their tone. Some have very high pitches and it's grating. The tone is how you say it, is how you emote your words. Today is a very hot day. Okay. Today is a very hot day. Now, I turn my camera off and I say, today is a very hot day. You can almost hear me sweating. Truth be told, I'm sitting in my aircon room right now with the temperature right down to 25, 2 aircons blowing at me because it is really hot outside. It's so hot. Versus today's weather is very hot. So the tone, how you say, how you emote the words, it delivers whether or not your message is to be taken seriously. Let's just say your boss tells you that he or she needs a deck to be done within the next hour. Maggie, I need this deck to be done within the hour. It has to be presented. Okay. I hear you. Okay. And then I go off and I do other things. 1 hour goes past. Maggie, where's the document? Oh, yeah. I'll get it to you soon. I told you I need it in an hour. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't know that you really needed it in an hour. Truth be told, it's happened before where I have forgotten and I've spoken to people, right? I've spoken to my staff and I say, listen, I need something within an hour. And they go, okay. And then 1 hour later, when my boss is breathing down my neck, I go to them, right? And I'm like, okay. Do you have the document? Oh, yeah. Wait, I'll get to it. I was just working on something first. I already told you I needed that document, right? Oh, yeah. But I didn't know that you need it now. How many times, right, has that happened? Oh, I didn't know that you needed it now. So I've learned that when I need something, my tone, how I say it to them. So and so, I need this document. Boss needs this document. within the hour. So I need it in 45 minutes because I need to look through everything to make sure it's okay. Please, 45 minutes. I need it in 45 minutes, okay? I need it in 45 minutes versus I need it in 45 minutes. So you get what I mean? The tone, how you say it. Let's say your spouse does something that you totally dislike, like eat durian and then decide that, in the aircon room, it might be quite funny to burp when there's no escape. Dear, why did you burp? Again. Versus, dear, why did you burp? The room smells of durian. Oh, sorry. It delivers that nuance that, okay, funny the first time, not funny the second time. So pitch, your natural voice, coupled with the tone of how you say things, coupled with how loud or soft you are. Now, if you say things in this tone and you speak to this person, well, they maybe think you're very genteel. You're a very soft-spoken person. Or if it's an audiobook and you're reading a scary story, perhaps of an old convent school where they say that when you walk up a flight of stairs in the dead of night where the clock tower stands, and whenever it hits 12 o'clock, you will always see shadows forming. So loud or soft can also emote different feelings. And that's what verbal communication is all about. That's what talking, that's what persuasive language is all about. It's not just about words, guys. It's really also all about how you use the words and how you say it. Effective communication also has to do with pace, pitch, pauses, power. The 4 Ps. Pa, 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 pa. If that's an easier way to remember it. Pa, 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 pa. Pace. How fast or slow you say certain things. If I talk really fast and I don't even breathe in between, and I'm just like not even giving you an opportunity to stop and sort of compute everything that I say, I'm just throwing words at you. Ta, 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 ta. Whoa, 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 whoa. At the end of it all, you understand? Being persuasive in conversations is also all about slowing down your sentences, remembering to pause so that you give people enough time to compute what you're saying, to understand what you're saying. You give their mind enough time to say, okay, wait a minute, do I agree? Do I disagree? You may have had a great idea, but because you were throwing those words at breakneck speed and they were trying to dodge and catch it, the idea, no matter how great it was, may have been lost. So take the time to slow down your sentences for good effect. Hey, hi, good morning. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining this webinar. It's really great to see everybody. It's just wonderful that you're taking the effort, to upgrade yourself. And we really hope to see you join us for more of these sessions. It communicates sincerity when you pace things out versus, hey, it's so great to see everybody here. Thank you very much for joining us on this wonderful webinar. Hopefully we'll see more of you, and be sure to tell your friends about us. Doesn't it sound like some sort of salesman's pitch where I just want to say the words, I don't really care whether you understand them? When you slow your pace down, when you bother to put pauses in between, it shows to the other person, you're important to me, and thus I want you to understand what I'm saying, so I'm slowing things down. Not like this, but comfortably enough so that you can pick up the words. Pitch, of course, where we spoke about that, different emotional content, whether it's something that is exciting that you want to share with them, like a new idea that you've been working on and you think that this is going to be really great to increase productivity, whether you think it's going to be great to improve teamwork, whether you think that it's going to be great because, hey, if it makes you, my boss, look good, it makes me look good too. Because remember, the way up is to make the boss look good. You make the boss look good, the boss will make you look good too. Or is it something that you really need them to think about? Because if you jump straight into making this decision, have you stopped to consider that maybe it's going to affect the teamwork? And when it affects teamwork, it's going to affect productivity. When it affects productivity, it is going to have dire consequences on everybody else. The reverse. Or in a home setting, let's say, interpersonal relationships. If you don't stop nagging, yeah, that's what it is. If you don't stop nagging at the children or nagging at so-and-so, you know what's going to happen? They're just going to switch off. And if they switch off and they don't want to listen to you anymore, they're just not going to communicate with us. There's going to be that communication barrier. It's going to affect the family ties. Do you really want that to happen? You know how many times, this is the trick my husband employs, which is why my two girls will always go to him first. So he will be the one who turns the way he pitches things to me, and he speaks to me this way. And I get suckered in because after that, I'm like, yeah, you're absolutely right. You know what, you're right. And now I'll talk to the girls. Oh, it's okay. It's all right. Your father's explained it to me. And then after that, I've got very delayed reaction. The next day I'm going, hey, wait a minute. I know that trick. Very effective though. And the power. Remember, don't be like me where I have no volume control. Loud or soft, nothing in between. But all of us should have something in between. So things like anger and joy, when you're communicating, when you are talking, persuasive, your voice, when you're angry, you don't necessarily need to yell. Oh, remember, yelling is like nails on the chalkboard. But you can raise your voice a little to show that displeasure or fear or sadness, just to make the communication even more effective. The voice is a very powerful tool. How everything else on you is saying it. Now, for the first part, I was talking really about words, your voice. But here's something very interesting. In fact, a lot of times, conversations and persuasive conversations and effective ways of talking to people and using that voice is also all down to what you're not saying with words, something we call nonverbal communication. This totally blew my mind when I discovered it. 35% of the time, you are computing or other people are computing what you're saying via words. 65% of the time, they are computing it through what you're saying with your eyes, your hands, your posture, and your legs. Now, in radio, whenever we communicated, it was nothing but our voices. So that was what we used all the time. When I said, hey, good morning. Oh, traffic is really, really bad today. You want to avoid the ECP totally, if you can. Unless, of course, you don't mind turning up at work 1 hour later. Sure, go ahead. It was just voices that we went by. But nowadays, of course, radio is very different. Radio is also all about the visual. And when we talk with each other, when you're doing Zoom meetings, WebEx meetings, Microsoft Team meetings, people are also looking at you. Unless, of course, you're the sort that turns off your camera all the time, and then it's either a picture of yourself or, like one of my colleagues, strangely enough, she has a koala. So koala is always talking to us in our meetings. But more often than not, if you are required to turn your cameras on, People are also judging you. People are also basing their final decision on what you're not saying with words. Do your eyes show that, yeah, you're actually very excited about this brand new idea that you have? Are your hands showing that, yeah, you can do all these things? Is your posture telling them that I actually am very interested in the conversation with you? Or no, I'm just really here because, I was told I have to be here. So I'm just trying to sound like I'm excited. You notice that when I change my posture, my voice changes as well. And it's not because I'm trying to put it on or ham it up. It's really because posture, the things that I say with my face and my hands, pushes out even more emotions or the air in me to emote my words. Now, of course, the one beautiful thing about Zoom is you never see the full body, so you don't quite see the legs. But for those of us who go back to the office sometimes, or when you need to do presentations and it's going to be a full-on camera presentation, how are you standing? Are you sort of like, resting on one leg? Is your leg shaking? Are you crossing on crossing? Crossing on crossing indicates that you are very, very, very nervous, extremely nervous. So have a think about it. Just have a look at this chart. Facial expressions. When you're talking about something that I think is a great idea, you see how my voice changes? I think it's a great idea. Do you think it's a great idea we do this? Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Do you think we should spend the money? I mean, we have to break up the resources, revenue's a little bit tight. So we need to know, do you think we should do this for the company? Yeah, I do. I think it's great for the company. Yeah. No, really, I think it's great for the company. Which one sounds more persuasive? Eye contact is very, very important. I cannot stress how many times I have based my hiring on whether or not the person across from me bothers to look me in the eye. You know what they say, right? The eyes are the windows to your soul. I'm like boring right now and looking at you as you are too to me. Eye contact, make it powerful. Gaze, hold, don't stare. Not only will your eyes dry up, but you don't want to stare because it unnerves the person. But when you look at a person, if you can look a person in the eye as you are talking, you notice how my voice changes? I can't see you, but I can imagine you sitting there right now looking at me, computing everything that I'm saying. And when I smile with my eyes, you notice how my mouth lights up as well and my voice changes and I'm smiling at you too. Or if I'm really very, very, I'm upset and I'm not happy, then it also communicates. So make eye communication part of talking, part of emoting. It changes your voice fundamentally. The head is also very important where you put your head because it affects what your voice is going to sound like. I know a lot of times we're Asians and we always say that, okay, we avoid eye contact. For some strange reason, we tend to avoid eye contact. We don't really like to look at people. Maybe because it feels very aggressive. Staring is aggressive. A short gaze, looking away, look back again, that's not aggressive. But when you keep your head down and you talk, you notice how the sound of your voice just gets very hollow. Can't really hear you, can't really understand what you're saying because the words, your voice is going downwards. Everything else down there can hear you, but everybody else up here can't really hear you. The most powerful mic is also not going to be able to pick up the full extent of your voice. When you're talking, you won't have a mic in front of you. But when you're talking face to face with somebody, you want to be able to project your voice out this way so that they can hear you. They can watch the words come out from your mouth as well. You resonate a whole lot better when you are looking upwards, eye level, and you're talking to the person. Your voice communicates the ideas that you want. Sometimes within that voice, they can also read in between the lines, and likewise, you can also read, in between the lines. How do you tell from a person's voice, or how can a person tell from your voice whether you're happy, you're sad, you've checked out, you've gone overboard, I'm like totally bored with you, you're bored with me, I don't want to talk to you anymore, I'm not even in this room, I am here physically, but my mind is having an out-of-body experience. Oh my gosh, I have been in meetings where the person is just talking, right? Caught in their own world, and I look around and then you see some people like, if there could be drool, it's like, okay. So what are the non-verbal and the verbal clues in the voices that you can hear? Little things that you do with your voice. For example, I'm just going to focus first of all on sounds. You're talking. Clearly, person not happy. If you keep clearing your voice, instinctively you're telling the other person as well, I'm not really pleased with what you're telling me. Isn't it, right? Let's say you talk to somebody and they're saying something that you disagree with totally, and every time they carry on with even more, there's that little bit you feel your blood rising a little bit more. What do you do? Clearly not happy, very uneasy. The other non-verbal clues is, of course, tugging, fidgeting with hands, like shortness of breath. The person is totally checked out. I get very nervous when I'm in a meeting, right? And my boss is, there are too many Then I know, okay, cut the presentation short. Person's not buying the idea. I'll come back with a better plan. Let me workshop this again. Okay, good. All right. The person has gone overboard. Oh, the person's on board. Sorry, the person's on board. Versus yes. Great. Yeah. You notice the voice, right? It's a little bit on the soft side. Very conciliatory. Yeah. All this indicate that yes, there's that warmth, there's that ease. I bought your idea. I've got probably a couple of questions, but you know what? Never mind. I'll spare you. I'll probably ask you along the corridor later. I won't show you up in front of everybody. It's okay. What you say. Voice, tone, pitch. Put together with words so that you can win an argument, put across a point of persuasion, get people to agree or disagree. You have to speak their language. Words are just words. Voice is just a voice. But you got to speak their language. You got to understand the other person. So do some research on them. This is what I always do. I'll do some research. You've got to know the people that you're dealing with so that you can speak in a manner that they understand. Everybody's gathered in this room because you want to learn how to use your voice more effectively to have persuasive and better conversations. So in understanding that, I'll draw up and use examples of how maybe you got stuck in conversations before, how you haven't been able to find a point of agreement with a boss or colleague. Why is it that somebody keeps getting ahead of you, but not you? Why? Your ideas are great. They're wonderful. But why are you not getting ahead? Well, it could be because of how you're saying it. So I need to understand. I need to speak your language. Don't beat about the bush. Don't beat about the bush. Save the long stories. Cut to the chase. Time is money. This is Singapore. Which is why even when we communicate on WhatsApp, everything is in short form. LOL, ROFL, LMAO. I'm still trying to get hang of it, but we type that way. The other powerful tool to accentuate the use of your voice and your tone is understanding wants and needs. On radio, this was what I was taught and something that I teach all of our new DJs as well. When you talk to somebody, when you try to persuade them with words, with your voice, it's also about creating a desire and a need. Does it improve, enhance, or elevate their heart, whether it is emotional or health, their mind, whether it's a thought, does it make them more intelligent, or pocket, will it affect them financially? Will it affect you financially? Be clear, be very direct. Focus on all of this. And remember, your message only matters if it appeals to one, if not all, of what I spoke about: heart, mind, or pocket. Words are merely words. If it doesn't touch you in any way, it really will not matter. Why is it that we will part with money and make donations? Yes, a lot of times it's because we want to help other people. We are taught it's good to help other people. Those who are less fortunate, you must help them. We are taught that, and we do it. But why are we perhaps more willing to donate to other causes? Maybe because it speaks to us personally. If you're a parent and an advertisement or somebody talks to you, or you receive a flyer, or you hear a story of a hungry child or another parent struggling to make ends meet just because he or she wants to build a better life for their child. And if you're a parent yourself, you go, yeah, I imagine if it were me, I'd give more. So your message and your voice work hand in hand as a very powerful tool, but it can only work powerfully if it in any way delivers on somebody's wishes or needs. Very quickly, show the relevance, of course, of what you are saying to the people you're talking to, whether it be your client, whether it be your colleagues, whether it be a friend. The relevance of what you are saying. Paint stories, paint pictures with stories, analogies to expand on points. So again, back to the example, I could have just been a voice to say that, well, and it was words, all words that were written out very nicely for me. Oh, okay, so go to, weight loss place ABC, because they've got all of the latest scientific, devices to guarantee to help you lose weight and shave off inches around your thighs as well as your bye-bye arms. Sure, words delivered factually, nothing at all taken out of context. Would that persuade you? No, I dare say not. After I gave birth to my first child, even before my first child was born and I was carrying her, I had already put on close to 10 kilograms, 10, 14 kilograms. So I was grossly overweight by the time I gave birth, right? I had high blood pressure already. When I gave birth, I thought, okay, great, I'm going to lose all that weight. It was a different story altogether. I walked around for 3 years and people still thought that I was pregnant. In fact, I had somebody else, while the two of us were waiting to do a voiceover together, she turned to me while we were waiting for, the sound engineer to come in, turned to me and said, "Hey, Maggie, I hear congratulations are in order. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I hear the patter of little feet are coming soon for you. And then I looked at her and I went, but I gave birth 3 years ago already. Creak, creak, creak. The embarrassment on her face. I'm like, yeah, I gave birth 3. Yes, I haven't been able to lose the weight. So if you, like me, are in this situation, you know what? How about you go and visit weight loss company ABC? Because they understand people like us and they know how difficult it is to lose weight. So nothing's rushed. You take your time. There's a diet plan. They do this, they do that. And they've got all these machines to work on you. Scientifically proven. Give it a try. I told a story, and it's true. Banish bullet points. Bullet points are just really. And make numbers and dates powerful by giving them context. The voice is very important. How you say it, how loud you are, how soft you are, how you deliver your message. And you can only deliver the message through your voice if you use your entire being. I am not suggesting that you have to like those dancing men or women that you see when you see the opening of shops and they're outside. But use your entire body in order to communicate so that the words can come out. Your voice becomes the tool to elevate, to place emphasis on those words. Okay? So guys, go forth and be persuasive. All right, Tim, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Maggie. That was an interesting session with Maggie. I'm sure we've got lots to impart. So now I'd like to open the floor. If you have any questions, you will see a Q&A tab. Feel free to ask questions. We'll open up the floor for some questions. We have one. Yes, we agree with Kok Liang. In the Western culture, yes, it is important to make eye contact. Otherwise, you feel that the other person is not sincere.
Yep.
Whereas in Asian culture, we are less, well, in Singapore, it's more westernized. I think a certain amount of eye contact is fine. But in Japan, yes, if you stare too much, or like what Maggie says, right, if you start to stare, then it's rude. I think even in Singapore, it's rude.
Yes. So it's not about, when I say you make eye contact, your voice can only throw so much persuasion. But if you do not couple a conversation with an eye-to-eye contact, then you really do not appear to be sincere. And like I said, the eye really is, your eyes are the windows to your soul. The person can tell whether you are trying to take them for a ride, you're trying to just snook them, or you really are very, very convinced or committed to, I want to make this idea work. When you do that, coupled with a voice that emotes it, half the battle is won.
Yes, we have another one. I don't have a good vocabulary, but how do I make conversations more interesting?
Okay. I think a lot of times, and I used to be that way as well. I used to think, I need to use big words, multi-syllable words. I have a conversation with a really good friend of mine, and when I use more than 3 syllables, right, she will like, can you just speak simple English? The art of conversation is all about making yourself understood. It's not about using big words. So really, simple words are fine as long as your point is put across. It's a really hot day. I cannot go out. I'm sorry. Versus, oh my goodness, the precipitation is so high. I find myself, all the sweat falling on my tresses is making my tresses limp. Basically, the weather is so hot, my hair is getting flat. Just say it as it is. Yeah.
Okay. We have one from an anonymous attendee. Every session we have an anonymous person. Yeah, review yourself. But how do you good tips on elevator pitch? Okay, we have training that actually trains people how to formulate an elevator pitch, or we call the log line in the film industry, right? So that's perhaps for another session. But yes, there is a formula to elevator pitches. Okay, someone with naturally high pitched voice. Any techniques to lower your voice or to maintain a sense of authority?
Okay. If you have a naturally high-pitched voice, what's happening is because you're not actually using your diaphragm, which is where you're just below, above your abdomen. There's a little bit of a muscle. It's one of those muscles you never knew existed until you do stomach crunches. We do a course where I will be able to teach you as well. But what you can do is you can slow down your speech. That is a first step. Slow down your speech. You know, sometimes you get really excited when you talk really fast, right? When we talk really fast, our pitch gets even higher. So you actually have to make a make a mental note. Slow down. When you slow down, your voice automatically goes down lower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, someone is interested in how you train your voice. Maggie is actually our trainer, so at the end of the session we'll flash QR codes. You can get in touch with us, and yeah, we do voice training. Do we need to invest in a good mic to improve our voice?
Okay, at the end of the day, it really is all about you need to have a base. It's like having pizza, right? So you need to have a good base. So a mic can only do so much. But yes, it can help in some ways if you are having conversations. But it's not going to be the be all and end all. Remember, at the end of the day, it is about your voice, how you say things, and how you pace yourself.
Okay.
It's not about the mic. It's not about the mic at all.
For someone who's an introvert, right? He or she has issues showing confidence in the voice. How else can we improve introverts and showing confidence? Yeah.
Okay. The number one thing after having spoken to a couple of introverts as well is the nerves of saying things right, sounding like, you know, intelligent. That's what a lot of people always tell me. You know what it is? When you start to talk and you're an introvert, you get very nervous. You start to talk very fast. You start to stutter a little. So what it is again, slow down. Pace yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I
Think.
think we've also answered the question for Dawn. When Dawn is nervous, what do? You slow down, and also
Deep breaths as well.
yes, deep breaths. Okay, and also and also anonymous attendee again, right? How to train the voice to be steady like yours. It does take time. Maggie's voice wasn't trained in 5 minutes, right?
One thing you can do is this, okay, especially for those who naturally, you know, when you talk and you're a little bit nervous, what I find makes it worse is if you drink cold drinks, if you drink cola, if you drink caffeine. Caffeine and colas, caffeine, of course, and have colas because of their sugar, makes your blood rush a little, or it dries your throat. If already you're very nervous, if already you know you're an introvert, then drink something warm in order to soothe the throat. And that's what I do all the time. I always drink something warm so that it sort of like lubricates my throat. Not cold water. Cold water constricts your vocal cords and makes it even tighter.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna start gathering questions because the whole bunch of questions coming up. Okay, we have a couple that is talking about, okay, any exercises to unblock or warm up your voice?
Well, you've got vocal exercises. You know, singers do that. La 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 la. You can do that. You know, of course, your neighbors will be wondering, "Oh, what's going on?" But that opens up the vocal cords a lot. There's trilling. I mean, there are many exercises that you can find. But realize that the first thing that a lot of us do when after we sleep, we don't even talk. We don't talk at all. So you haven't opened up your vocal cords. Do these vocal exercises, which you can find online anywhere. And it does open. It really does help.
Okay, all right. Give me a minute. I'm just going to quickly scroll through some of the questions. Some of them are on voice over industry. How do you get into the voice over industry? Well, my 2 cents worth is number one, you need training. That's for sure. And of course, there are ways to get into the voiceover industry. There are some websites that you can upload your voice samples on, and then advertisers will go on that site to search for voiceover talents. All right. Okay. Any tips on enunciation?
Okay. The one thing that I find that we are guilty of, and it's all because of this, right? We do not give full respect to vowels and consonants and the end of words. So I'll give you an example. Habit. Very bad habit. We have a very bad habit. Bad habit. We never say we have a very bad habit. Why? Because we're so used to typing furiously, we've forgotten how to actually end off our words. So you need to make it now a good habit in order to hear the t, d, k, f, p, s. I'm not suggesting that you speak this way, but don't say bad habit anymore. Don't be lazy.
Okay. Earlier we addressed questions on high-pitched voices, but there is someone in the crowd who's saying, I have a low-pitched voice that's often viewed as authoritative, commanding, or forceful. How do I improve?
Smile. Speak faster. Smile. Make an even more conscious effort to smile. I know, when you have a really deep voice, it's that voice of authority. It is kind of like what we call the voice of God. If it's a man, yes, you've got a voice of God. If it's a female, then it's like, you sound very fierce. So you need to actually make a more conscious effort to smile. When you smile, you notice that your voice lifts a little.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The other one that is also interesting is, how do you throw your voice?
Throw your voice. Again, it is using the diaphragm, which is that muscle that's hidden behind all the food that we eat. A lot of people make the mistake of throwing their voices by doing this. So they're actually throwing their voice from their throat. You notice after that you get very tired. But if you want to throw your voice and still be able to speak clearly and properly, it is working the diaphragm. So that takes exercise, that takes a class to show you where it is.
One more that's really interesting. I believe that I think I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Jackie. I noticed that the way you pronounce your words are neither American nor British and not very Singaporean. So how do you pronounce and how do you enunciate? I think this is the brand of MediaCorp, right?
the neutral accent.
British and neither Singaporean, right?
Yeah. Okay, so a lot of times we notice, of course, especially with new DJs, the newer ones especially, we are so influenced by American, or they are so influenced by American TV that when they talk and they, it like APPLE becomes apple. I'd like to have an apple, or I'd like to have a banana split. Whereas those who are a little bit more old school, I'd like to have an apple or a banana split. But then again, there is the neutral accent, which is something that I have, where you can either place it, whether it's American or British. It's just over the years of practice and telling myself, I am not going to lean towards anyone. It really comes with the training. But Tim is quite right. It is actually one of the traits of MediaCorp. You listen to Class 95, except for maybe one or two, John, who's lived in the US for quite some time, and Sophie, who is a natural born British girl. The rest have a very neutral accent. So my enunciations are not hard the way the British might do it, like tea and crumpet, but it's a softer tea and crumpet. You still hear it, but it's not overly enunciated.
Yeah. And I think, I just want to add on, I think my experience in casting has told me that the Singaporean accent, or this neutral accent that we are now talking about, which is an interesting point, is actually an advantage, because it then appeals to both British American or an international audience for that matter. Yep. Okay, I'm just going to quickly answer one more. Okay. Okay, any more tips on okay, a lot of it's on accents and exercises. Is there a is there a market for voice actors in Singapore?
The market is always there. However, it is a case of pricing. So to be honest, I was also, or am still, a voice actor, but we find that a lot of a lot of the jobs actually, from what I understand from the people in the industry, have actually gone to other countries, and there's a combination of things. It's also because of the production that goes into it. So it's not just your voice; it is also everything else that's packaged. behind. But yeah, there still is a market for voice actors here in Singapore.
Okay, all right. I'm going to do one last one. We're overrunning by a little bit. Okay, how to speak more authoritatively. People don't take me seriously. I think, yeah, this is quite a common one.
It's remember, what I find very useful is pacing. When you want to prove a point, if you talk really fast and in the end you kind of sound like you're Mickey Mouse, nobody can take you seriously. Even if you're very angry, I'm not pleased with you at all. How can you take somebody seriously like that? However, when you speak slowly, sometimes even deliberately, and you pause, it does send shivers down their spine. So it's pause. It's all about pause. It's all about speaking slowly, emphasizing the words.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Maggie. Thank you for your time and thank you for sharing your personal experience. It has been a wonderful session, and thank you all attendees. Thank you for the wonderful questions. I will share a slide with 2 QR codes that you can get in touch with us. If you're interested in some training that we do, slates of programs that are related to professional development and also in higher learning, you can Google us at Singapore Media Academy, or you can, you can get in touch with us. A big thank you to Maggie. Maggie, thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for sharing your personal tips. Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much, everyone.